What's up, guys? My name's Dean, or as most of you know me, Twisty, and it's time to get into the round 4 preview of the AFL season. First game of the week, we got the Eagles taking on the Tigers. That is tonight at Domain Stadium. West Coast got no changes coming into this one. The Tigers, Andrew Moore and Taylor Hunt come in. Moore playing his first game for the Tigers after previously being a Port Adelaide player. And outs Miles and Short both get omitted. I don't mind the Miles one as much as I thought I did, purely because he had very limited preseason and he's been sort of down on his contested ball early on for his averages. I think he normally averages about 15. He's only had 6 last week. So if he can get his body right this week with a week off, I'm very happy with that. And Taylor Hunt's probably better for a little bit of structure. You don't really want Basher Hooley playing on a small defender. You'd want him, further up, half back to sort of, be the one kicking the ball out of defence. So I don't mind that one. Richmond got a decent record over there, but West Coast, they are a very, very good football side. And I see them finishing very high up on the ladder. Of course, I'm going to tip Richmond because I'm a Richmond supporter. Cannot go against that, but it will be a very difficult task. West Coast will go in very heavy favourites over there. So, obviously, you would expect the Eagles to win this game. Nick Nat Nui versus Sean Hampson in the ruck, so we'll see how Nick Nat goes. He pretty much monstered Richmond last time they played last year. Well, it was Ivan Marich in the ruck. Hampson's probably a little bit better in terms of tap ruck work, so we'll see how he goes against Nick Nat and whether or not Richmond's limited defence, I guess, can hold up against this West Coast powerhouse forward line. So see how those things go, but obviously Richmond, very small win from my perspective. The next game we got is the Bombers and the Cats. Where are they playing? They're playing at the MCG. They haven't played there for a long time. So confused as to where they were playing. They're playing at the MCG. Connor McKenna comes in, the Irish lad. Bird comes in, and Laverde. Comma, Crowley, Merritt out. And for the Cats, Lonergan, Gregson, and Murdoch come in. McCarthy and Kolajasny omitted. And Corey Enright has been managed. What are we? We're 4 rounds into the season. So if he's going to have 3 weeks out of 4 every month, then he's only going to play 15 games this year. That's probably what they'd be happy enough to get out of him, and then play the finals all the way through. But very interesting decision to rest a player so early in this season. I don't know how he's going, obviously, so but that's just an interesting one. Anyway, I think Geelong will win this one very easily, very convincingly, and they will dominate the Bombers. It'll be interesting to see how McKenna goes. Only played a couple of games last year, so if he can get into some reasonable good form, then Bombers have something to look forward to in the future. Next game, Hawthorn, St Kilda, another big one here that you think could be a big blowout win. The Hawks, O'Brien, Hodge, why do you play Hodge? I hope Hodge doesn't play, purely because he shouldn't. You don't really want to risk him when he's only just come back from a broken arm. And Daniel Howe also comes in. John O'Rourke has been omitted. Shellmakers with the groin and Gibson with the hamstring. So that's a big out, Josh Gibson, for the Hawks. Tom Lee comes in, Templeton and Akers, Robertson, Webster and Dunstan all out injured. So a few forced changes there for the Saints. Coming off a good win against Collingwood last week, but Hawthorn, they find a way to win whatever they're doing, whoever they're playing. I don't think it'll be much different this week. I still think they will win, and win convincingly against St Kilda. So the Hawks, for me, at where are they playing? They're playing at Aurora Stadium down in Tasmania. So that's a big one there. I definitely think Hawthorn's ball movement is just supreme. So next game we got the Q Clash 11, and the Brisbane Lions hold a 6-4 advantage in the Q Clash against the Gold Coast Suns. The Suns winning 3 of the last 4 though, and I think they will make that 4 of the last 5. So Rich comes back in for the Lions, Evans goes out. And for the Suns, a couple of big ins. Calamar Chi took Miller. Rory Thompson goes out. That's going to be a bit of a loss. Trent McKenzie with the nose, and then Brendan Matera has been omitted. So he's one of those players that's thereabouts, but he's got a lot of talent, but whether or not he puts all the effort in is questionable at times, and I think that Matera he's a pretty dangerous small forward. He used to be, one of the best small forwards in the comp, but he's sort of lost his spot. So interesting to see how he can get back into that side, because I think he is a very good player at his best, but whether or not he can come in, I think the Gold Coast will win this one, and they will win this one convincingly as well. I think there's going to be a few big wins this week. This is obviously one of the ones I think will be a big win. The Gold Coast will go 4-0. And who do they play next week? Let's have a look. The Gold Coast play North Melbourne at Metricon next week. So if they win this week, they win next week. Big win against North Melbourne next week if they can get it done. They're 5-0, and I think that they're in the finals. 100% confirmed. Even if they don't win next week, I'm pretty sure winning this week would give them a finals berth. Playing with a lot of confidence right now. Aaron Hall, star of the competition, #1 disposal player in the game, might I add. And you've got Gary Ablett there, who's just playing second fiddle to someone. You never see Gary play second fiddle to anyone, but Aaron Hall at the moment is tearing it up. Alright, let's move along. Gold Coast obviously going to win that for me. Move along, game of the round, in everyone's opinion, the Crows and the Swans at the Adelaide Oval. Lynch comes back in after the birth of his child. That's why he missed last week. Riley Knight goes out, who was the late change to come in. And then you look at the Swans. McVeigh comes back. First game of the season. Dean Towers is in. Hewitt goes out, and Zach Jones goes out as well. So this is a huge game. Kurt Tippett, first time he's been back to the Crows since he dogged them, left, and then got suspended for 12 months. So it's a very interesting one. Just to see how this is going to turn out here. I think Tippett will get absolutely smashed by all of his teammates. You got to get into him, don't you? Surely you get into him if you're a teammate. He'll get ripped apart by the crowd, and with good reason too. He kind of just was like, all right, well, I'm leaving, just because they're going to pay me a bucket load more money. Even though I've already been paid excess. Anyway, breaking the rules there. I think Sydney in this one. I know how good Adelaide have been. I watched them firsthand last week. They were such an exciting side to watch. They play very counter-attacking football. The Adelaide Oval, home ground advantage, home crowd advantage. But the Swans have never lost there. They have never lost there over, I think, 3 seasons now that Adelaide Oval has existed. So I think that the Sydney Swans will win this game. Buddy will have a day out. Tippett will have a day out. And they will win a very close one. They will win a very, very close game. But Adelaide, they're like sort of how Hawthorn went after Buddy left. That's the comparison that everyone's drawing. Dangerfield goes, they become a much better team. And they are such a good team. So Crows, they should be in finals action this year. So will the Swans. But this is going to be a ripping game of football. Tune into it. So it is the Saturday night game. I think Carlton Western Bulldogs is on TV. But if you have Fox, tune into this game because it's going to be much more exciting than this next game that we're going to talk about. So Swans for me in a very close game. The next one we got is the Dogs and the Blues, Etihad Stadium. So the Dogs obviously missing Rob Murphy with that knee injury. Adcock comes back in, upgraded off the rookie list from Brisbane last year. I thought he was a very good player that definitely deserved a team to take him, Jed Adcock. So I was very surprised the Lions let him go if they really wanted to keep leaders around. But they are building a team from the ground up, so that's fine. He's only 29 too. He's definitely got at least 3 years in him, at least. For the Blues, Plowman, Sumner, Lamb go in, Jamison, Wiley, and Blaine. Boakhurst goes out with a hamstring injury. This is just a very simple one, regardless of whether or not Murphy plays. Adcock is a great replacement. He's no Rob Murphy, but he is a gun player. An experienced player that can lead as well. So I think it's a similar style of player, but I think Rob Murphy's obviously the better player there. The Dogs easily in this one could be a shellacking, as we've seen early on. The Dogs only conceded 6 goals in each of their first 2 games. So, Carlton may only kick 5 this week because the Dogs are just a ripping team. and they're very exciting. We go to Monica Oval now. We see the Giants and the Power. These are extended squads, of course. Buntine, Steele, Pickett, Haynes, Tomlinson, and Hopper in for the Giants. Devin Smith with a knee, Aiden Core with the ankle, and Will Hoskin-Elliott with the quad goes out. So three big-ish sort of outs for the Giants, a couple of forwards in there. And for the Power, yet to make any changes, so three blokes will be omitted from their team. Hartlett and Wingard definitely will be back in, and Calhoun as well has been named as part of that extended bench lineup. This is such a difficult game. This is the second best game of the round for me. I'm very excited. I think the Giants are going to win this one, even without Devin Smith, who is one of those players that just creates goals out of nothing in their forward line. Hoskin-Elliott, very similar sort of player. Does Jeremy Cameron come back in this week? No, he doesn't, because he's not in my in. So Cameron will come back next week. If they lose this game, he will be spewing, because he should have been playing. He can, they can blame him for their losses so far. So Giants, Jeremy Cameron not playing. Giants for me. I think they've got enough. A lot of people were saying Port Adelaide weren't that convincing against Essendon last week, regardless of how big the margin was. So the Giants are in some pretty good form. They took it to the Swans last week. Didn't get over the line, but Sydney are a very good side. So I think the Giants will win this game. Sunday afternoon, Melbourne and Collingwood. Collingwood, it's home game, of course, at the MCG. 2v side, bottom Varco, McCaffer and Mason Cox come in. Marley Williams with a foot and Brian Maynard with a hamstring go out. Obviously, these are extended squads, so a couple of them may be omitted, although you'd think that 2v side bottom and Varco would play. You'd think Mason Cox would play, just elevated off the rookie list, so he could potentially make his debut. You look at Melbourne, you got Angus Brayshaw, Cam Pedersen, what's his name? Jaden Hunt, Neil Bullen, Garlett come in, Vandenberg with the ankle, and Bernie Vince with that 1 week suspension goes out. So Jaden Hunt could potentially make his debut for the D's. This is going to be another interesting game. Two sides that have been playing some reasonably not up to expectation, or Melbourne's probably playing a little bit beyond their expectations. Collingwood a bit below their expectations of football so far this year. So whether or not Melbourne can, say, right, look at what we did last week, can we then push through and win a game this week, or will they get complacent with how they did last week and just be like, yep, we did a really good job last week, but this week we're going to beat Collingwood regardless of how hard we try. And you can't have that mentality coming into games. That's how they lost against Essendon. If they do it again this week, Collingwood will win. And I've gone 50-50 with this game. I've changed my tip 2 or 3 times. Whether it's Melbourne, Collingwood, I don't know. If Mason Cox plays, I'm picking Collingwood, because he is brilliant. So if Mason Cox plays, I'm picking Collingwood. If he doesn't get named in the side, then I'll pick Melbourne. But I think Collingwood. Varco's in. Varco's their most exciting player. He's one of their best players so far of the preseason. He was the one doing stuff. So Varco comes in. He's going to be the key. The key for them. They're going to win. Collingwood, win. Just do it. Just win. And we'll go to the final game of the round here. North Melbourne taking on the Fremantle Dockers. This will be at Etihad Stadium, I believe. And Fremantle zip and 3, North Melbourne 3 and zip, looking to make it 4 and zip, making the Dockers 0 and 4. Hanson, Wood, Turner and Farron Ray come in. Taylor Garner goes out with a hamstring, so extended squads, of course. And Farron Ray could make his debut for North Melbourne. You look at the Dockers, Crozier, Griffin, Taberner, Hanneth and Tucker in. Mazungo omitted and Sandilands out with the ribs, so we will wait and see where Freo is at. I still think they're done. They're done, especially if they lose this week, zip and 4. People are saying, they go 0 and 4, they'll still make the finals. But Freo, who do you play next week? You play Carlton next week, and well, there's one win. Then Freo plays Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. You're going to lose that. You're 1 and 5. Then who do you play? You play the Giants. Well, I don't know if you can beat them even at home. Then you play Hawthorn in Aurora, so they could be 2 and 6, Fremantle, if they beat the Giants. And they play Richmond, who you never know what they're going to dish up. So let's say Freo are 2 and 7, they lose that game. Then they play St Kilda. Alright, well, they might get on a roll here. St Kilda, Essendon, Brisbane, Port. I don't know with this club. Where are they going? North Melbourne are going to win this game on the weekend. It doesn't matter. Oh boy. Anyway, take a look at my tips for the week. I got to go back to the round so I can actually find out what the games were. I got Richmond to beat West Coast, Geelong to beat Essendon, Hawthorn to beat St Kilda, the Suns over the Lions in QCAT Clash 11, the Dogs over the Blues, the Swans to beat the Crows, the Giants over the Power, Collingwood over Melbourne, and North Melbourne over Freo. I don't know what my current tips are. I'll have them on the screen, like my scores or whatever. Anyway, I got 7 last week. Let's see what I can do better this week. Hopefully get a 9-er. But we'll see. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what's going to happen and why I'm wrong. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Have a good afternoon, evening, and good night.